What if the most attractive women you'll ever meet shared 15 predictable blind spots, psychological biases you can spot in seconds and ethically use to stand out without being richer, taller, or louder? Keep listening, because as you understand each one, you'll feel a switch flip inside you. Your frame gets calmer, your voice gets slower, your moves get cleaner. I'm not here to sell you magic lines. I'm here to install mental software, grounded in influence science, evolutionary psychology, attachment theory, and Stoic discipline, so you can lead interactions with clarity, respect, and effortless pull. You're going to hear practical phrases to use, micro-behaviors to apply, and the exact levers that authors like Robert Cialdini, David Buss, Esther Perel, John Gottman, Dan Ariely, and classic Stoics described from different angles. This is not manipulation. It's mastery. Power with, never power over. If you want to be treated like a high-value man, you act like one. Clean intentions, firm boundaries, and a mission that doesn't bend. From there, every weakness becomes a window you open, not a knife you twist. Ready? Because number 9 flips a common myth about chasing and attraction, and number 15 is the fastest ethical escalator most men never use. Let's start by resetting your internal frame. Attractive women live inside an attention storm. DMs, likes, stares, invitations. Their nervous system builds filters. Their mind leans on shortcuts. Kahneman called them heuristics. Cialdini called them universal influence principles. Buss mapped the mate selection motives behind them. Your advantage is that you'll stop throwing volume at a filter and instead speak the language the filter understands. Signal quality, novelty, congruence, and a relaxed masculine presence anchored in purpose. You don't out-yell the crowd, you make the noise irrelevant. That begins with Stoicism, Epictetus 101. Control what's yours, release what's not. Your voice tone, your pace, your eyes, your time, your boundaries, your mission. Hold those, and each of the 15 levers becomes natural to pull. First, the novelty bias. Attractive women are flooded with predictability, compliments, generic openers, identical invitations. The brain's dopaminergic system prioritizes contrast and surprise. You use this by leading with a crisp, pattern-breaking signal instead of a predictable pursuit. Practically, that means you cut filler words, you remove neediness from your eyes, and you open with a clear situational observation or a calibrated challenge that frames you as different without trying hard. Say, pause. I have 60 seconds and then I'm out, but I'm curious about one thing. Or, hold that thought, there's one detail I can't let slide. You're not being rude, you're interrupting autopilot. The subcommunication is, I'm a man with a clock, not a man chasing time. Mystery in the seduction literature calls this a pattern interrupt. Cialdini would point to the contrast effect. Use it sparingly and mean it. 60 seconds is 60 seconds. When you actually leave on time, she realizes you weren't performing. You were leading. Your novelty wasn't a line, it was your life being lived. Second, scarcity of sincere validation. Because attractive women hear endless praise, generic compliments lose value. Scarcity multiplies impact. You exploit this weakness ethically by delivering precise, earned validation, then moving on without hovering. That timing you have when you speak, measured, not rushed, rare. Then you pivot. Anyway, 2 questions, then I'm gone. Notice the structure. Specific observation, short pause, abrupt topic shift. That's how you make a compliment land like a signature, not a beg. Dan Ariely's work on contextual value and Cialdini's scarcity principle explain why this sticks. You are not inflating, you're calibrating. The weakness is not that she needs compliments, it's that her filters are hungry for something real. You provide real once, and you stop. That restraint is the attraction. Third, social proof and preselection. The human brain takes shortcuts by outsourcing judgments to the tribe. David Buss notes that mate choice often leans on cues of desirability to others. Neil Strauss popularized preselection in pickup literature because it works. The attractive woman's blind spot is not superficiality, it's efficiency. If you're respected by quality people, her brain saves energy by placing you in the likely high-value bucket. You use this by curating your visible ecosystem. Show up with grounded friends, mention collaborative projects in passing, and let others introduce you. You never brag. You never manufacture jealousy. You simply become a man whose life is already co-signed by good humans. Practical line. If you enjoy specific art, food, hike, join us Sunday. It's low-key, no plus ones who drain the vibe. There's a boundary, a standard, and a social environment that speaks for you. Social proof done right is quiet and clean. Fourth, the competence heuristic. Attractive women are drawn to signals of capability. Competence is sexy because it predicts safety and adventure. Show, don't tell. Gottman's research on trust in relationships underlines consistent follow-through as the foundation of attraction that lasts. In early interactions, competence is communicated through micro-logistics. You choose a place that fits the vibe, you make a clear plan, you have a backup if the music is off, you navigate with ease, your payment method works without fuss, and you don't outsource basic decisions to her. Tactical example. I've got a spot with a quiet corner and brutal espresso. 6:30 sharp, 45 minutes hard stop. If the playlist is trash, we'll walk 2 blocks to the rooftop. You didn't ask, what do you want to do? You provided a container. You didn't flex. You functioned. Function beats flex every time. Fifth, frame hunger. Humans look for the strongest, calmest frame to lean on in uncertainty. In attraction, frame is the story you live that reality keeps confirming. The weakness here is that when an attractive woman senses a frame stronger than the environment, she relaxes into it, even if she's used to steering conversations. Your move is stoic composure. You don't fight for control, you own your internal state. When she teases, you smile and redirect. When she delays, you keep your schedule. When she tests, you don't defend, you define. Use the phrase, "That's cute. Do you want the honest answer or the diplomatic one?" You reframe without hostility. Remember, what people call tests are often fitness checks for consistency. Pass them by being unfazed, not unkind. Marcus Aurelius would remind you, opinion is optional, action is yours. Maintain your frame by living it. Sixth, the investment gradient. Cialdini's commitment and consistency principle explains why small actions compound into bigger commitments. Attractive women are constantly approached, they rarely invest. That's your advantage. Create micro-investments that are effortless but directional. Text me your 2 favorite neighborhoods. I'm mapping a walking route. Pick the number, 20 or 45 minutes. Bring your take on topic, I'll bring mine. Loser buys sparkling water. These are tiny, playful asks that move her from passive receiver to co-creator. Once she invests, you acknowledge lightly and keep momentum. Never reward with neediness, reward with progress. This builds what Gottman calls a culture of turning toward, even in early stages, without the heaviness. Seventh, curiosity gaps and open loops. The brain hates unfinished patterns. Novelists, marketers, and yes, skilled seducers use open loops to sustain attention. You use this ethically by foreshadowing value, then stacking proof. There's one thing about your posture that tells me you're deadly good at something most people neglect. I'll show you after we grab a seat. Then you actually deliver. Perhaps you point out the way she anchors her weight before she speaks, suggesting careful thinking. Then you pivot to a new, concrete thread. The weakness isn't female curiosity, it's human cognitive tension. You build it to lead, then resolve it with respect. Overuse open loops and you become gimmicky. Use them cleanly and you make time disappear. Eighth, variability over intensity. The nervous system habituates to constant stimuli. Intermittent experiences feel richer than constant attention. Many men bombard an attractive woman with intensity that burns out quickly. Others go ice cold and lose momentum. Your strategic edge is controlled variability. You bring vivid focus when you're in the pocket. Then you detach to your mission. Think jazz, not siren. In practice, when you're with her, you are fully present. Phone away, eye contact anchored, slow cadence. When you leave, you actually leave. To train, to build, to rest. You don't linger in endless threads. You set a container and honor it. That rhythmic contrast, engage, exit, creates a felt sense of value. It's not a game, it's a byproduct of a mission-first life. Helen Fisher's work on dopamine and anticipation explains why this cadence feels addicting. The rule: consistency in character, variability in cadence. Ninth, purpose magnetism. Here's the myth. Chasing harder shows you care. Reality. Chasing replaces purpose, and purposelessness is repulsive. Attractive women have options. They filter for men anchored to something bigger than attraction itself. Your advantage is that most men don't have this. You will. State your mission in one sentence when it's relevant, not to impress but to orient. I build products that make focus easier for creatives. It's a war against distraction. Or, I train men to be unshakable under pressure. It's my obsession. Then stop, you don't monologue, you act congruent with it. Your calendar, your sleep, your training, your reading list, they all reflect the mission. Esther Perel often speaks about the erotic pull of separateness and selfhood. You embody that. She cannot be the center of a life that already has a center. Counterintuitively, that's what makes her lean in. 10th, boundaries that command respect. Attractive women test boundaries because attention has few breaks around them. When you state non-negotiables calmly, you stand out. Speak in I language, not rules for her. I don't do drunk drama. If the energy gets messy, I bounce. Simple. I value punctuality because my schedule is tight. 10-minute window, then we reschedule. Delivered once with a relaxed face, then enforced without emotion. Gottman would call this a firm but kind startup. Cialdini's authority principle also sneaks in here. Self-authority is irresistible. The weakness is simply that clear edges are rare. You provide them, and the interaction becomes safer and more erotic simultaneously. Never negotiate your core values for attraction. Attraction born from self-betrayal is fragile and expensive. 11th, time as a value signal. Scarcity, again. But this time it's not about words, it's about your clock. Attractive women can feel when a man's time is elastic and desperate. You weaponize time in a healthy way by defining containers. I've got 40 minutes, then a call. If we hit a flow, we'll schedule part 2. Or, walk with me for 15, I'm headed that way. You're not pretending to be busy. You are busy, with priorities chosen by you. This is straight out of Stoicism. Memento mori for your calendar. When you treat your time as a sacred asset, she treats it as such. And if she doesn't, you're gone. That exit is your advantage. Most men can't walk because they haven't built a life worth returning to. 12th, leadership in logistics. So many interactions die in ambiguity. We should hang out sometime is a graveyard. Attractive women are allergic to vague men. Your advantage, decisive logistics done lightly. Propose specifics. Offer a simple choice. Set a follow-up protocol. Tuesday or Thursday, early evening, espresso or rooftop, lock it now. If not, I'll circle back next week. You lead, you give bounded options, you close. If she hesitates, you release. No stress. If the week's packed, we skip. You model abundance without posturing. Leadership here is not dominance, it's service. You remove friction. Every author from Gottman to Perel to Cialdini would agree. Clarity lowers resistance. Be the man who makes the path obvious. 13th, the aesthetic lever. Silhouette, scent, sound, and stillness. Attractive women are tuned to micro cues. Fit, edge, grooming, and the energy of stillness. Your weakness exploit is that 95% of men won't refine this. Focus on silhouette before brand. Clothes that frame your shoulders and taper your waist. Neutral palettes that let your presence talk. One accessory with story. Scent as a signature. Clean, not loud. One spray where heat rises. Sound is your voice. Slower by 10%, lower by a half step, articulated at the end of sentences instead of trailing off. Stillness is the amplifier. No fidgeting, no frantic nods. A half smile held through her teasing. These sensory levers activate fast, pre-verbal attraction. This isn't vanity, it's competence applied to your body. Evolutionary psychology notes that cues of health, strength, and self-regulation are primal signals. You calibrate them deliberately. 14th, the safe challenge polarity. The central paradox of attraction is that women crave both safety and excitement. Too safe is dull, too edgy is dangerous. Attractive women are extra sensitive here because options increase risk. Your advantage is becoming a safe challenge, emotionally predictable, behaviorally adventurous. You communicate safety by consistency, consent, attentiveness, and reliability. You communicate challenge by gentle pushback, purposeful teasing, and leading into novel experiences. Phrases like, "That's adorable, but you're wrong. Walk with me and I'll prove it," delivered with a grin and a clear plan, produce that polarity. Perel writes about the erotic energy of separateness and surprise. You become the man who can create sparks without chaos. Never confuse challenge with disrespect. The moment your teasing has an edge of cruelty, you've lost the frame and your integrity. 15th, calibrated touch and proxemics, with consent. Oxytocin and safety cues matter, but in early stages, many men either rush touch or avoid it altogether. Attractive women notice both extremes. Your edge is micro-calibrated, explicitly consensual touch, leading with your shoulder as you guide through a crowd, a brief palm to palm to emphasize a point, a relaxed side-by-side lean while looking at a view. The words matter. Come, with an open palm. Walk with me, as you step first. Is this okay? As you lightly touch her elbow to guide. Consent is attractive because it announces self-control. Your body language is slow, then gone, never lingering. The weakness here is not passivity. It's that few men communicate touch with such clarity and care. You become the man she can relax with because you never make her manage your impulses. Now, to install these 15 levers into your behavior, you need a simple operating system. Think of it as a 3-layer stack: inner state, outer signal, and conversational architecture. Inner state is your stoic baseline: slow breath, relaxed jaw, unlocked knees, gaze steady. Memorize this calibration sequence. Anchor your weight into your feet, drop your shoulders 1 centimeter, exhale through your nose, and choose a single intention: lead cleanly. Do this before approaching, during conversation transitions, and whenever you feel yourself tighten. Outer signal is your visible standard. Your clothes fit, your phone disappears, your movements are economical, your time is bounded. Conversational architecture is the pattern you run. Open with novelty, slice with sincerity, seed investment, lead logistics, exit on time. When you run this sequence, you automatically pull multiple levers at once. Example flow. Pattern break opener. 1 precise compliment. A challenge question. Micro investment ask. Logistics proposal. Time-bounded exit. Each step is small. The overall experience is unmistakably masculine. Let's get even more tactical, because theory without scripts won't rewire your tongue. Use these phrases as templates, customized to your voice and culture. For novelty, 2 minutes. I'm stealing 1 observation and then I vanish. For sincere validation, you do that thing where you pause before you answer. Rare and attractive. For frame at a tease, cute. Now the honest version? For investment, pick rooftop or espresso, surprise me with your reason. For leadership, Thursday 7:10, 20-minute walk, then a sharp espresso, hard stop at 7:45. For time scarcity, I'm heading out in 5, if we're mid-sentence I'm cruel, I leave. For safe challenge, you're fun when you're wrong, come argue with me for 20 minutes. For consensual touch, is this okay? Paired with a brief directional touch. For boundary, I don't do flaky energy. If a plan wobbles twice, I release it. For purpose, I trade in focus. My day is a fortress. I protect it. None of this works if your life is empty. Your schedule must reflect what you claim. That's the masculine difference between tactic and identity. Tactics without identity feel like tricks. Identity makes tactics redundant. You simply do what you do, and the levers pull themselves. So assign yourself 3 non-negotiables that exist whether or not she texts back. 1 physical practice, 1 creative practice, 1 service practice. Physical could be strength training or martial arts. Ground your nervous system. Creative could be building a product, writing, music. Cultivate flow. Service could be mentoring, coaching, volunteering. Expand beyond self. Suddenly, logistics are easy because your life already has rails. You're not creating plans for her. You are inviting her into motion already in progress. Now let's address the fitness checks people call tests. Attractive women, like anyone with options, confirm that your signals are stable. When she playfully provokes, you agree and amplify instead of defending. If she says, "You're probably trouble," you grin astronomically. That's why we keep it to 45 minutes. If she delays scheduling, you assert your rhythm. "All good. I plan weekly. Ping me by Tuesday or we roll to next week." If she throws a trap question, you reframe choice. Do you want sincerity or charm? If she tries to move you into chaser mode, you pivot to purpose. I don't chase, I lead. If the timing aligns, we run it. Each response is calm, not combative. You're not trying to win. You're showing that your center is not for sale. Let's talk about digital hygiene because your online behavior will silently destroy or multiply your in-person leverage. Attractive women receive walls of low-effort messages. Your advantage is ruthless clarity. You don't send paragraphs, you don't play 20 questions. You don't linger when energy is mismatched. Your message cadence mirrors your life. Short, specific, forward-moving. Good banter, Tuesday 7:10 or Thursday 6:40, choose one. If you're met with vague vibes, you give one gentle nudge, then you exit. I keep threads clean. If it's a yes, lock time. If not, no worries. You never beg for attention. You never punish with silence. You respect both your time and hers. Remember Cialdini's reciprocity. When you bring clarity, the few who are ready will give it back. You also need to design your environments for leverage. Don't fight human nature. Arrange context so the levers are amplified. Choose venues where you control noise, distance, and movement. Quiet corners, lengthwise seats for easy side-to-side conversation. A route that naturally offers micro-transitions. Doorway, short walk, new view. Each transition is a chance to escalate proximity ethically and adjust energy without trying. Keep the first interaction short by design. 30 to 45 minutes is perfect. The end of a good moment is more powerful than an extra hour of diminishing returns. Bookend with a clear close. That was sharp. Next time we compare notes on seated topic. Wednesday after 7 works. You pick the spot. I'll veto if the lighting's tragic. This is logistics, leadership, and safe challenge in one sentence. Now, a truth few will tell you. Your calm refusal is more attractive than your eager acceptance. Attractive women are used to doors flying open. When your yes is rare because your standards are real, your presence signals value. Practice saying no with warmth. I sit that one out. Early training tomorrow. That venue's chaos. I optimize for signal, not noise. I don't do last minute unless it's family or emergencies. Delivered with a half smile, no explanation beyond what you live. This is stoic sovereignty. It's also a hard filter. The wrong people will vanish. The right ones will lean in. Let's add a mini toolkit for each of the 15 weaknesses so you can deploy under pressure. For novelty, speak in high contrast. Short sentences, then silence. For validation, one precise observation per interaction, max. For social proof, let others reference you. You never self-credential. For competence, handle one logistics friction before it happens. For frame, answer subtext, not surface, with a smile. For investment, give her a choice that requires a tiny action. For curiosity, foreshadow once, deliver quickly, then pivot. For variability, engage fully, then disappear to your mission without fanfare. For purpose, one-line articulation, then lifestyle proof. For boundaries, state once, enforce quietly, never argue. For time, name the container before or early in the interaction. For leadership, options with edges, decide and close. For aesthetics, tailor, trim, tone, fragrance, voice, stillness. For polarity, warmth in the eyes, steel in the spine, playful pushback. For touch, always ask or signal, then keep it light and directional. Also, learn to pace and lead emotionally. Pacing is meeting her where she is. Leading is guiding to the next state. If she's high energy, you reflect a slice of it before lowering the tempo. If she's cautious, you soften your edges, then invite a small step. Use language like, let's slow that down, or walk me through that, or hold, say that last part again. This balances novelty with safety. Emotional pacing is how you make attractive women feel seen without becoming a therapist or a clown. Gottman's turning toward applies here. Notice bids for connection, little jokes, micro stories, brief glances, and meet them cleanly. Now, a word about integrity. Exploiting vulnerabilities without care is how men lose themselves. Every principle you heard can be twisted into games. Don't. Influence science plus ethics equals leadership. Influence science minus ethics equals manipulation. The key difference is intent. Your intent is to create a high-signal interaction that respects her agency and your mission. If a move feels slimy, it probably is. If it feels clean, it usually is. Your responsibility is to calibrate, not coerce. Seen through this lens, weaknesses are really predictable attention patterns you honor and steer with skill. Let's pressure test with rapid-fire scenarios so the levers stay sticky when it counts. She's slow to reply. You don't chase. You relead or release. We keep momentum or we park it. My week is heavy. She flakes once. You reset frame and container. No problem. I operate on 2 strikes. Next time, confirm 2 hours prior or we reschedule. She dominates the conversation. You slice cleanly. Pause. 2 beats. Then you answer my question. She pokes at your height, job, or status. You agree and amplify, then redirect. Tiny and dangerous. Now answer the question. She wants endless texting. You compress. Fun chat. I choose in-person signal over pixels. Thursday or pass. She tries to move venue spontaneously. You weigh safety and standards. Spontaneity's great, not that spot. Lighting's chaos. Choose between A and B or we save it. Each response reinforces the stack. Purpose, boundaries, leadership, time. Your body, too, must communicate what your words promise. Train your posture to default to groundedness. Feet shoulder width, weight evenly distributed, pelvis neutral, ribcage soft, shoulders heavy, chin tucked slightly, eyes level. Practice the 1/3 smile, barely there, which suggests warmth without eager approval. Learn to pause 2 seconds before you answer anything emotionally heated. Those 2 seconds are where men separate themselves. Breathing note. Inhale through your nose for 4, pause 1, exhale for 6. Longer exhales cue your nervous system to relax, which signals safety and confidence to hers. This is practical stoicism. Its effect is immediate. Let's lock in a 7-day installation plan so this becomes muscle memory. Day 1. Write your 1-sentence purpose and remove 1 low-value commitment from your week. Day 2. Tailor 2 clothing items and create your signature silhouette. Day 3. Practice 3 pattern break openers on strangers in low-stakes contexts: barista, receptionist, gym staff. Nothing flirty, only calm novelty. Day 4. Set time containers for your next 3 social interactions and end each on time. Day 5. Practice 1 precise compliment per conversation, hyper-specific, then pivot. Day 6. Set and enforce 1 boundary kindly. Day 7. Design a simple date flow route with a quiet venue, a short walk, and a backup. These actions pull multiple levers simultaneously and recalibrate your identity. You're not doing lines. You're becoming the man for whom these lines sound like common sense. A final calibration. Attraction isn't a courtroom, it's a rhythm. You won't logic a woman into desire. You will create conditions where desire can catch, grow, and keep pace with your life. Influence science gives you the architecture. Evolutionary psychology explains the currents. Attachment theory warns you where your own wounds will sabotage you. Stoicism keeps your hands steady on the wheel. When you stack these, you move differently. Your eye contact holds, your sentences simplify, your schedule tightens. Suddenly, the attention storm around attractive women doesn't swallow you, it orbits you. And those 15 predictable blind spots become the clearest map you've ever used. Novelty bias answered by pattern breaks, validation inflation answered by scarce precision, social proof answered by quiet tribe, competence answered by handled logistics, frame hunger answered by composure, investment answered by micro-commitments, curiosity answered by clean loops, variability answered by mission-based rhythm, purpose hunger answered by one-line clarity, boundary checks answered by calm edges, time tests answered by containers, leadership gaps answered by decisive options, aesthetic scans answered by silhouette, scent, sound, stillness, polarity hunger answered by safe challenge, and touch uncertainty answered by consenting proxemics. Run the stack, enforce your standards, and keep your mission central. Attraction stops being dramatic. It becomes a craft you practice with respect. And when you operate like this, you don't just use those weaknesses to your advantage. You earn the kind of attention that can't be faked, can't be bought, and never needs to be chased.